Hello, everyone. We are live. It is another live watch party. Everyone, we have a very great treat for you today. We're going to have the ultimate final debate, Sam versus Tory. Who's better? Who's worse? Who's responsible for it all? It's all coming to you right now. So, first off, let's go ahead and introduce the two sides. I'm not going to be taking part in this, but we do have champions for each girl. So, our first champion, representing Samantha LaRusso, is Sarah. So, go ahead and say hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I have a fan page on Instagram called Samantha LaRusso, and yeah, I'm a big Sam fan.
Yeah.
So happy
Yeah.
to be here.
Yes, you got this sort of iconic at Samantha LaRusso handle. Like you got it, right?
Yes, I struck first, struck hard, and
You
yeah, I showed no mercy to Instagram on a Snapchat username. So
There you go. And the champion for Tory Nichols, we have Teddy, a literary major, right there.
Yeah, definitely. Analysis is one of my favorite things to do. So, of course, when Tori came in as like the biggest disruptor in the show, I was all about it.
Oh, yes, that is a good word. I've used that same word, disruptor, too. So, for what we're going to do to just start off is I'm going to start with you, Sarah. I think you've been a fan of for a long time. Just so people get to know you and where you're coming from all this. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about how you found Cobra Kai and what was it about Samantha that drew you to her immediately and you fell in love?
ooh, oh my god, I don't know. I think it just honestly what made me fall in love with the character.
Just, what drew you? Why are you a Samantha fan? Well, from even the first time you watched the show.
Definitely, her honesty is a big part of it, and I really like her fighting skills. And yeah, she's like, yeah, she has like flaws, but she will like stand up for what she believes in, and that's something I admire about her. So, yeah.
Did you like relate to her trying to navigate high school and being popular or anything like that?
In some aspects I did, but yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay. And Teddy, so tell us just briefly, how did you come upon Cobra Kai, and what was it when Tori showed up there in season 2 that you just instantly loved her?
It's kind of funny because I think when I was watching the trailers and everything for season 2, when her character was shown, I immediately was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like this girl." But for some reason, like her entrance was just such like it was just so like impactful, especially in the show. Like just introducing, oh, and here's another girl fighter. It was just really cool, and I was like, I just really gravitated towards her and her character. Like I said, I just loved the whole. She came in hard. She
even had to reveal the students step
Yeah.
aside, and she's standing there.
Oh, for sure. She rocked the whole show off its foundation.
So are you just drawn to any character that kind of just, as you say, rocks the show, disrupts the show?
I think that's a really big part of it, especially because looking at some of my other favorite characters in the show, they definitely also have that effect where they kind of came in and they definitely blew everything up, and just it was definitely crazy. But I don't know. I just think she's a really strong character despite having one less season than Sam does. I think there's definitely a lot to talk about with her, and that's like one of the biggest things I love with characters is just, like I said, I love analysis. So really being able to dig into her character was so much fun for me. I didn't have an appeal to many of the other female characters until Tori.
Yeah, that is something I've heard other people say. So then let's see. Well, then let's just start off a little bit here. As Teddy was just talking about when Tori shows up, right? So it's already season 2, episode 4. We're even a little bit into season 2, and they show up, but I think you could say, their life changes for both of them that day. So they meet up. And so Sarah, like if you were Sam, or like Sam was talking to you, how do you think Sam would describe that day?
Oh, their first meeting, right?
Yeah, their first meeting, when Sam and Tory first come across each other. Like how would Sam describe that day? How would Sam describe this?
Crap. So this is the part when she accuses Tori of stealing her mom's wallet, right?
Yeah, that's the episode.
Okay.
That's a little bit later in the that's not how they first meet. But you
God.
go ahead and tell it how you would describe it. Or how you think Sam would describe it. What's Sam's argument about this?
How did they meet again? Oh my god, I'm actually gone blank.
Well, Aisha invited Tori to the beach club. And
yeah.
then
Okay. I'd say from Sam's perspective, obviously, she wanted to hang out with Aisha, right? So obviously she wanted to have them like, I don't want to call it a moment, but obviously like
kind of a
it was
moment.
everything going down in the valley. Like crap. I am actually so bad at this. I'm so sorry.
it's okay.
Jeez. Obviously she took a disliking to Tori because, like, in her eyes, Tori kind of like was stealing her friend away from her. So obviously she didn't like.
She was trying to patch things up with Aisha.
Yeah.
Which you were saying, because they had that little feud from Valley Fest, right? So
yeah, exactly. So I think that had like a big impact on how their relationship started, and that what sparked the flame, I guess, between them.
Do you think like maybe she thought Tori was a bad influence on Aisha, and that's why? Like, how would Sam think this? How is Sam defending herself here, or you defending Sam? If it's easier for you to think of it like that, I'll just put it. Why is it Tori's fault? Like,
why is it Tori's fault? Yeah, she's just stealing her friend away from her, and I don't know, maybe it's possessiveness or something, but like Tori was like in the wrong in her eyes because she was just trying to patch things up, as you were trying to say. So
okay, so she's trying to patch things up with Aisha, and then Tori just came in and was throwing things off, basically.
Yeah, pretty much
is what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I wanted to throw it here to Teddy. How would Tori describe that day there when they first
lost my
met?
earbud? Well, honestly, I think the whole thing with her being introduced and being friends with Aisha, I think it was kind of set up to be like a really nice moment, because I think a lot of fans were just excited that there's another girl in the dojo. Tori was happy that she was already making friends, and Aisha was happy that she had another friend, because her and Sam were kind of having their argument. And so I think like at the beach club, when Tori sees that there's like another girl and she finds out it's Sam, she was able to kind of like, you could tell she was a little maybe, I wouldn't say caught off guard by her presence, but just like she knew about her, she'd heard about her, and she was just kind of like, okay, what's girl? This is the girl I've heard about. And she was like, how do I word it? She was able to kind of put that aside, and she was nice to Sam. It like didn't exclude her. Sam was the one that kind of started putting in the, oh well, we shouldn't be doing this, which I think is interesting on her part, considering she was friends with people that were also would consider bad influences. So I think that's kind of definitely, it's more of driven by her jealousy over, as Sarah put it, Tori stealing her friend away. And then when she was accused of stealing the wallet, I think you could kind of see on her face that she was kind of put down a little bit, because she had been welcomed by Aisha. She had never probably never been in a country club before. She was
Mhm.
having a great time. She, like I said, she was just looking, she was happy, she had friends, and it was like it was a nice moment until then. And I think it really, like I said, I think it really showed on Tori's face just like the level of like hurt that she was about being accused over such a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. One thing I would like to say is when I was actually making my list of like moments that like why Samantha LaRusso is better, I kept on like running into like brick walls literally, because like it's such a gray area between both characters.
Mhm.
So like obviously people's perspectives on what is like right and what is wrong is
Yeah.
completely different. So I agree that like of course Tori, obviously like knowing her upbringing and stuff, like she like obviously like did feel accepted and having like making new friends.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, I can see it where you're coming from that perspective indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, perspective is so much of the show.
Yeah.
Like Sarah, Teddy talked about, the vodka or something, and then, Sam was a little negative towards her. How do you think Sam felt about that when Tori just shows up with a whole bottle of vodka in her bag there?
Ooh, about the vodka, definitely. Yeah. Okay. So I think Sam and like just the LaRusso family in general, they obviously, raise their kids with like a strong moral compass. So of course, like stealing, lying, abuse, and whatnot is like morally wrong in their eyes.
Mhm.
So for like, was Sam right in like blatantly like accusing Tori? Well, not really accusing because she did steal a bottle, didn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, she
Yeah.
she showed it to her, and said,
Mhm.
"Let's get wasted," essentially. Right.
Yeah. So I feel like Sam was in the right, but like at the same time, she shouldn't have confronted her about it and then like targeted Tori about it, I guess. So
I
yeah.
think that's actually a really good word to use. I think Sam targeted Tori. I think she put a lot of her own, like she was projecting quite a bit in
Yeah.
that whole episode, I think. Because like I said, there definitely was that jealousy. Like I said, she was trying to make up with Aisha. They were made up. And then she runs and goes off with Tori instead. And because I feel like if Aisha would have been the one to propose it, be like, "Oh, hey, let's do something." I feel like Sam might not have had that kind of response. So I think it was definitely targeted at Tori, like that kind of, "Oh, I'm gonna be better than you" kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do
It
either of
started.
you think it might have helped if like Aisha just stepped in and Aisha went with Tori, but maybe if Aisha had encouraged Sam to come along?
Okay. I actually wrote this down. I think Samantha LaRusso and Anthony are both bystanders. Bystanders.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
in
have
an
that written
element
down
of
too.
like even though like oh my god. You know the way in season 1 obviously Sam teams with Yasmin and Moon, who are essentially like the antagonists of the series, and like the way Sam treats Aisha is definitely like obviously like in my perspective it's like not right, because like
Definitely.
she just didn't do anything about it. For like in Aisha's perspective, like she was technically, could you say she's a bystander in this feud between Tori and Sam? I don't know, but
A little
yeah.
bit. I don't know. I feel like she kind of had already picked her side by joining Cobra Kai, and she was trying to have a healthy relationship with Sam. But I think, like I said, at the same time, she was just really thrilled to have a friend like in her dojo, and especially since her and Sam had already kind of had been having issues. I think she had already kind of picked her side. She went off with Tori. She took Tori's side when Sam accused her of stealing the wallet. Like, I think it's kind of obvious that like she already felt like there was a lot more potential in being Tori's friend than being Sam's friend.
Yeah. Um,
So, you know, then how did the rivalry progress? Like, um, they 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 have this incident there, and then it's kind of the way it goes, and then Sam gets knocked into the dessert table, and then they don't see each other for a while. Like, could that have been the end of it, Teddy? What do you think? Like, or was there a way for it to be over then, or
Well, since the whole show kind of centers around the Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai rivalry, I definitely don't think that would be the last they'd seen of each other because, like, there's tournaments, there's just general events in the valley that I think they would have probably run into each other at.
Mhm.
And I think that like whole run in at the roller rink, I think it was inevitable. I really do.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was definitely inevitable.
Yes, in the Miyagi verse, once you have a run in with someone, it's basically a lifelong commitment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So well, let me ask you then, Sarah, you said what are some of your notes? You had some notes on like what why Sam is better than Tori. Is that essentially what you had, or
Yeah, I just like categorized it down to like family, friends, and like fighting skills. So there's like
okay.
a couple of bullet points here and there, but like honestly, I didn't really do a deep dive into it.
Well, that's
Um,
interesting you mentioned family because now after several seasons we see the family of both of them. Obviously, we know the LaRussos, and we've gotten a little bit more about Tori. Most of it, we learn about them being off screen, but they were only in like one episode. But what is it about like Sam's family there is something that really makes Sam shine maybe more than Tori?
ooh. One thing I actually have written down here is like, Sam is basically like a combination of her mom and her dad. Like in season 4, we got a bit of her Amanda's backstory, didn't we?
Mhm.
And how she was like arrested, and like obviously Amanda has a bit of a, like a rebellious side apparently that we
Mhm.
learn in season 4, and obviously throughout the Karate Kid series, we know that Daniel's like a bit of a hothead, and yeah, I think that definitely contributes to her character throughout the seasons, may I say, and
Mhm.
yeah, she's definitely like straightforward, honest, and she definitely takes after her mom, like do- like um, like mother like daughter. Let's just say she's very quick witted, and yeah, she says it like it is, and of course, like her mouth can get her into trouble, as we've seen in certain episodes and stuff. So yeah, um, yeah, I think
Um, then what is it about really that Teddy that Tori and her family, what is it we should admire Tori for?
I think one of the biggest themes that I keep coming across, especially in just the show in general, would be the nature versus nurture aspect. And
Mhm.
so I feel like with Tori particularly, I feel like she's also a lot of things that, Sam is. I feel like, she's a little bit of a hothead. She fights for what she believes in as well, even if it's, maybe not what other people think is right. And I think a lot of that does come from her family, considering the fact that her mother is how she is, and she has to take care of her brother. And well, as Kreese puts it, she's been fighting her whole life. Like it's just kind of, oh, excuse me, it's just kind of like one of those things that's like so prominent in her character that this anger stems from the fact that she hasn't gotten a fair deal. Like nothing about her life is fair. And I think also, again, that's just, going back to this whole little rivalry, it is a little bit of a projection, like how Sam was projecting onto Tori. I think they bounce off of each other all the time because, like I said, Tori just feels like she's gotten such an unfair deal, and there's so much weight on her shoulders for being 17, and I think that's where a lot of her anger and fire comes from. And I think, like, again, that's just one of the things that I like about her character. I feel like it's very realistic. I feel like I've definitely met a lot of people that have just resorted to anger as their default emotion.
yeah, I agree with that statement as well. Like
Mhm.
I think Sam is like Tori's like the anti-Sam and vice versa, and obviously how Tori was raised obviously has an impact on her personality now. So yeah, I think they definitely do bounce off each other, like you said, and of course, maybe in future seasons they might put their heads together and work things out.
They're
Yeah.
definitely like Daniel and Johnny in that sense. I think they have potential.
Definitely.
Sarah, do you think and I've seen people say this, do you think like a lot of people criticize Sam because she was born into a rich family or something? Do you think like all of that criticism is fair or whatever?
Ooh, this is a tough question. Honestly, of course, she was raised in Encino in California, and she did like grow up with this lavish lifestyle of like going to like the beach club and whatnot, and of course, like how she was raised, of course, was like definitely influenced by her parents and stuff. But of course, like Daniel always like compared to like Daniel's like childhood, like teenagehood versus her childhood, like even though she's like raised in Encino, she still has this like moral compass, and like yeah, things can get situations can get the better of her sometimes, but she does know what's like right at the end of the day. And I think is it fair that people criticize her? I think like the whole story of Cobra Kai is definitely like the gray area, right? So I think people need to like take a step back and just like see things from her perspective. Of course, like yeah, she may be an Encino kid, but like people don't really know like the true her. And what else?
Let me ask you, in episode 1 of season 4, Tori says to Robbie, no one's ever told her no, she just makes a puppy dog face. Do you think that that's a fair characterization, do you think, from Tori about Sam?
Ooh, honestly, yeah.
You think no one's ever told her no? Okay.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, I can definitely see where Tori is coming from, because she is like from that point, like she is like this rich, mean, bratty girl who like gets everything she wants, and like she needs to be put in her place in that aspect. And of course, like as we see in let's see, this is so hard debating for her side. Like, okay,
You're just making my point for me.
yeah, no worries. Anytime.
She's very polite.
But yeah, I think all the characters have flaws, and like, yeah,
Okay. Well, Teddy, what do you think about that scene there where, Tori's partially maybe twisting Robbie a little bit?
I mean,
when she
I do agree that like it is a fairly accurate, description, but at the same time, I think it definitely is very presumptuous of Tori to say something like that, considering the fact that, she doesn't really know her that well either. All she knows is about their rivalry and
right.
what that does to their lives. So I think she kind of she kind of got it by chance. I think it was very if Sam had been different, she wouldn't have known it, because like I said, she doesn't even know her that well. Like, it was definitely just something in relation to their rivalry, again, in a projection, I think, of like how she feels like she wishes she could get away with some things easy.
Okay. That's a good one. Let's wind back to like season 2 a little bit. Teddy, why did Tori knock Sam over at the roller rink?
Okay, let's see here. I think again that kind of goes into plays into the whole morality of the show, how everybody thinks that what they're doing is right. And I think that's a character trait. I feel like you could say that about every character in the show, is they do what they think is right. And it's definitely not what everybody thinks is right, but it is what they think is right. And I think in this moment, like, you know, again, like I said before, Tori went to her default emotion, which was rage. She sees Miguel and Sam talking. She knows that her and Sam already had a little bit of trouble. She gets insecure, and she definitely defaults to just being mad. And so I think when she knocked over when she knocked over Sam, it was just kind of one of those things where she was like, I'm going to do this to her and then I'll feel better. And she didn't quite anticipate Sam doing it back, but when she did, it kind of played out in her favor, since everyone was like, whoa, dude, what are you doing now? It was
Okay.
a turning point in their rivalry.
So Sarah, she said, you know, it's kind of her default.
Yeah.
Do you take that as the defender of Sam?
Oh Jesus! As a defender of Sam, oh my God, I can't defend Sam for her actions all the time. But
No. I mean, when Tori knocked Sam over, she's like, well, that's just kind of her default.
honestly, I can see where she's coming from, because like her whole life like has been like not really a mess, but she has had like a rough upbringing. So of course she's going to defend herself. But
was Tori defending herself?
Was she?
She saw Sam and Miguel talking over by the where they pick up the skates, and then she kind of bumped Sam over.
Oh, yeah, I think it was just, I think that technically was her default, I guess. I don't know, like, I guess, yeah, because like, didn't Miguel and Sam like break up by then?
Yeah, they were
Right.
already broken up. This is when
and Tori and Miguel were dating.
Well, it's like when they're at the roller rink, when after they saw each other, and Miguel is kind of proposing a truce to Sam, and she doesn't really want to take it, but Tori doesn't know that, so she sees them talking, and that's when she knocks her over.
Yeah.
And Sam knocks her over back.
Yeah, I think it's just like jealousy on her point, like, and Tori's perspective.
Well, let's skip ahead. Sarah, who's responsible for the school fight?
Teddy, who do you think?
Well, I think Tori started the school fight. There's no way around that. She went on the loudspeaker. She called Sam a bitch. She set up. It was, you know, just very. It wasn't even planned out, I guess. It's just, again, she let her anger take her. We don't really know what she did that whole night or morning before she, like, you know, attacked Sam, but apparently, you know, seeing Sam and Miguel at the party really got to her, and it overflowed at that point, and that anger, and there's no denying it. But I would say that Sam was the driving force. She didn't force Tori to start a riot at the school, but
she was the driving force, but she didn't force Tori. What?
Yeah, exactly. That's my position.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you, Sarah?
Yeah. She's definitely the driving force. I agree. Yeah, I agree with what Teddy said there.
Okay, so she said she thought, you know, Tori was responsible for the school fight. So did Sam deserve that, Sarah?
Honestly, like a confrontation like that, of course, I don't think Sam deserved that at all. Mm-hmm. Of course, what she did was what Sam did. Like, she kissed Miguel, didn't she, at the party? So of course, and like Tori saw that. So I don't think it was right for Tori to like bring that up in front of like the entire school and just to lash out at Sam like that at all. I think they could have just like reasoned it out or something, or even if like Tori held her tongue or something. Like, I think it could have gone way differently. I don't know how, but like, Tori was definitely.
I don't know. I would say that the confrontation in front of everybody was the least of the issues with that scene, because I feel like at the least Sam definitely deserved to kind of do that, because she had every opportunity. Well, not every opportunity, but that at the beginning there when she was talking to Robbie, she definitely had her chance to tell the truth, and she had her chance to straighten things out, but she didn't. And I think Tori admitting to or telling everybody that, what Sam did, it was very minuscule. She could have honestly done that and then walked away, and it would have had a pretty intense impact on Sam. But of course, like I said, her anger drives her, so that's not enough for her. She needed to get physical with things, which would, like I said, is definitely over the top, but I feel like she had every right to expose Sam for kissing her boyfriend.
So she had a right to say it like that, not
Yeah.
necessarily to attack.
Yeah, I don't think, of course, I don't think anything is worth starting that level of conflict over something as stupid as a high school kiss. But I think, like I said, if Tori would have just announced, hell, if she would have even announced it on the loudspeaker, being like, "Hey, I know what you did," like that would have shooken Sam up enough. And that's what her ultimate goal was. I think she said she wanted to make her pay, and I think if honestly she would have just said that and then walked away, her life would have probably had exploded a whole hell of a lot more, because then she would be forced to face what she'd done, rather than Tori going over the top to the point where she's the one that did, the bigger bad thing. Because they both have done bad things, but I think that like level of what Tori does, it definitely overshadows a lot of Sam's things, and I think that's how she's able to get away with so much. A lot of people, oh, she did this, but it wasn't as bad as this, and that may be true, but that doesn't mean she didn't still do those things,
Okay. So Sam sort of did things, but Tori always one-ups her, essentially, and is what you're saying.
I would say she the impact of what she does overshadows everything, because like I said, Sam will kiss Miguel and Tori sees, but she'll incite a riot, so she definitely goes big. She definitely goes big when she pushes back. And I think I would argue that's a lot of the rivalry, is Sam doing something and then Tori just pushing back, and she does it in a more chaotic way that makes people think that she's, a lot of people call her a psychopath, a lot of people call her crazy, a lot of people say she's delusional. But I think, like, through the anger after that wears off, she does see very clearly about the things that she has done.
Okay, so we talked about the rivalry a little here. Now let's just switch gears and talk about something a little bit different. Who has the better style? Who dresses better? So who's
like karate style or like
no
style?
your fashion style, your clothes. Who dresses better? Looks better?
Sam.
There you go. Why? What's argue for Sam's sense of style?
No.
What do you like about Sam's style, Sarah?
Ooh, I just oh my god, it's just very aesthetically pleasing, I guess, and like I really like the patterns on like her clothes and stuff, and yeah. What did you guys think about her her prom dress? There was like a big debate over that. It was like people thinking it was ugly and whatnot, but I think it was okay.
It's like the princess dress, isn't it? Like,
yeah. So okay, it's actually kind of funny. That was one of the points I had. Is like I think style is so subjective, but I would say that I like Tori's a lot more, and I would say that she has like, I don't know, I just like her style a lot more. But her prom dress was very questionable to me. It looked like something Robbie's mother would wear, which I know a lot of people
that is what we've
theorize.
been saying literally from that for the first time we saw it. I was like, she must have got it from Robbie's mother. Yes. It prompted some of us to think that was Robbie's mom, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Some of us, and by that I mean me, But so okay, but so you like Tori's style, just maybe her prom dress was too much or not enough, as the
Something.
case may be. Is that what you're saying there, Teddy?
Yeah. I just think it's funny because I think in shows a lot of the time they have that like really good wardrobe and like
Mhm.
it's very consistent for all the characters, and I think that's the case for Sam. She has a lot of pinks and a lot of like baby blue, I guess maybe in a few
Mhm.
times, but
Mhm.
and I think that's just really interesting because when I was in high school, my friends and I were not color coded. So I just think it's very interesting that she has like that, stick of this is my pink wardrobe versus Tori, who has a little bit more of a realistic high schooler's wardrobe where she has a sense of style. She definitely goes with a little bit of a darker aesthetic, but she still wears different colors. She does different things with her hair. Like it's a range, and I think that's probably why I would favor in Tori's
What's
side.
Tori's best outfit that she's worn?
Best outfit? Oh geez. I really liked her outfit at the party in season 2. I thought that was really nice.
Mhm.
And God, and the way she styles her hair too is cool sometimes. She does more of
She
just,
was wearing
the
plaid there, wasn't she?
yeah, she was wearing the
I always thought that was
red
an
flannel.
odd choice for her. I don't know.
I loved that. I think it looked great. Maybe that's just because it's something I would wear, but
There you go.
but I also thought, gosh, I guess she didn't really wear it because she was in Sam's head, but for the dream, the nightmare, I liked
She's
that outfit too.
even in Sam's dreams, she's well
Yeah,
Yeah.
dressed. You know.
even in Sam's dreams, she is dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
Mm.
What do you think Sam's best outfit is, Sarah? You love Sam's style.
Ooh, I liked in season 1, the
Mhm.
All Valley, like her outfit there. That was kind of
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
I liked her
Oh,
top there. It was really
yeah,
nice.
that's a good one.
Oh, and what else? Her date night with Miguel. That was also one of my
That was
faves.
just cute.
It's really sweet.
Yeah, that's a good one. She has a lot of hairstyles too. They
Oh
Mhm.
yes, right. I also
Oh,
like made like 2 videos like on
yeah.
like how to do your
I
hairstyle.
can't put up a fight there. Sam wins hairstyles.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
there you
it's not for
go.
hair.
Yeah.
In the end, it comes down to the hair, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so here's a different part of it that people have talked about, which is better. So if there's a guy out there looking for a girlfriend, should he look for someone like Tori or someone like Sam? Who makes the better girlfriend for a guy? Teddy, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, right away, I want to say Tori, obviously, because I'm defending, her character. And I think I could back that up reasonably by saying, Tori is very loyal, like, not even just in terms of dating. I think just all around. I think she's a
Mhm.
very loyal person. And that definitely does go into the dating thing because when she's with Miguel, she's with Miguel. And then when she was with Robbie, even then, like they kind of started it with like a whole, we're gonna mess with them way. But even after that, like she really has no intention of looking at Miguel after her and Robbie have their moment. Like she's very, I don't want to say one track mind because I think that has a negative connotation to it, but
Mhm.
doesn't she doesn't let her, like she definitely isn't looking at them across the dance floor like Sam is.
Right.
She's definitely not searching for her ex at a party or just, thinking, "Oh, I had him first." Like you know, I don't think that's how her mind works. I think she's very loyal, and I think
She's
that
very loyal.
that makes for a pretty good girlfriend if you're willing to look past her short fuse.
Short fuse. Okay. How about you, Sarah? Why would Sam be the better girlfriend?
Why would she be the better girlfriend? I think definitely
Or at least what are Sam's best traits as a girlfriend? How about if
I was actually trying to think about this, but I couldn't come up with a good reason because like I think Miguel and Robbie both bring out something like different in her, and like she like brings out something different in them. Like
Okay,
from
what did she bring out in Miguel? I know you're a
Miguel.
fan of Sam and Miguel, so what does she bring out in Miguel?
Okay. I think she makes Miguel more like braver in a way. Like I think in season 1 he was like very timid and stuff, and then like yeah, I think Sam and Miguel just work in a way that like better than Miguel. No, Miguel. Oh my god, Sam and Robbie do. Like, I think on the other hand, Sam and Robbie are like, oh my god, like Sam sort of like softens Robbie in a way and like helps him guide, helps him help, helps guide him on like a right path than Miguel. So I'm not making
But
any
that's
sense.
partially just because Robbie needed it, right? So are you saying maybe Sam, kind of guides the path on what if Miguel needed courage and Robbie needed maybe a little bit of like reform or better path? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
pretty much. Yeah. Sorry, that's all I got for now.
Okay, well, how about maybe you can tell us why Tori would be a bad girlfriend? Argue against Tori.
What is this? I don't know. I think in Sam's perspective, like she just tries to get back at Sam, I guess, for just
Sort of petty, vengeful.
yeah,
So
pretty much, yeah.
get back at someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And obviously, the guy doesn't want someone who's like going to be constantly bickering like that.
Yeah.
Which is okay. So that's so like Miguel, like we were talking about knocking, when Tori knocked Sam over, it was kind of like petty. She was, Teddy called it loyal, but maybe it was being overly petty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have anything
Okay.
to say?
Teddy, why don't you talked about why Tori's a good girlfriend. Why would Sam be a bad girlfriend? Why should a guy avoid Sam?
Like I said, I already kind of touched on how she, like, Tori, like I said, when she's with somebody, she seems to focus on them entirely. And based on what we've seen, I cannot say the same for Sam because, I mean, when she's, dating Miguel, she is with Robbie. And I wouldn't really go as far to say that they, I don't think they like went as far as to like say that they were I don't know, there's a word, I don't know if there's a word for it, but it's not anything more than flirting, but it's definitely like it's definitely, I think she kind of makes it obvious that she's being a little over friendly, I would say, because just based on some of their interactions alone, it's like I think it was very reasonable for Miguel to see what he did and assume that, maybe there was something more going on. And I'm not saying she acted on that. I'm just saying that there was definitely the chemistry there. And like I said, I don't think she cheated on Miguel. I just think there was definitely a chemistry that she didn't quite shut down. And with, when she was with Robbie, again at the roller rink, all she could think about is, well, he's with her now, and she couldn't focus on the fact that I'm with Robbie. She thought, I can't believe Miguel is with her, and I think that's what ultimately drove her to cheating on Robbie, is the whole if I can't have him, then nobody can mindset. And you kind of hear that again at the prom when she tells Tori, oh, you're always behind me in line, like implying that she doesn't think that anyone that dates her can move on.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Sarah, or anything you're thinking like from the prom or?
Nope. Not at all.
Okay, so this is one people like to debate now. Sam and Tori have fought several times. including once in Sam's dream. Um, who's the better fighter?
I'm gonna have to go with Sam. Pretty much because like she started karate when she was 8, and of course she has more experience with like different sensei such as her father, and of course she was trained by Mr. Miyagi. And yeah, she in season 4 she like she kind of practices, you know, with weapons and stuff, and she ends up being really skilled with that. So I think she has an all-rounded like knowledge of like martial arts in general, a bit more than Tori, who would rely on, you know, like what she did like kickboxing, right, or something.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think Sam has like a wider like range of like skill sets in that way compared to Tori. And also not just physically fighting like martial arts wise, she's also like a really good verbal fighter, and of course that can like backfire on her because like she can like she kind of like, as everyone says, she starts fights but she never really finishes them. But I think
What's her best verbal fight? That's an interesting one. So like, where does she get the upper hand with words?
I think that definitely comes from her mom in some ways, because of course Amanda's very like, you know, direct and stuff. One thing that I really admired about Sam in season 4 was definitely like how she stood up to Johnny, you know, in the training sequence when she was like jumping off the roof, and she just confronted him about like, she said it as it is, like he is a 50-something-year-old
You're a middle-aged loser who drinks all day. So you liked that? You liked her putting Johnny in his place?
But I think that's definitely one of her fighting, like verbal fighting, you know.
Okay, that's a good one.
So I'd have to go for Sam fighting.
So Teddy, do you agree? Just Sam's a better fighter, better with words, everything?
I would, you know, okay. I think that, you know, every time that they fought, it's a pretty even draw. Even though Sam does have a more open, I don't know how, just a different background in fighting. Like, you know, like you said, she's been going at it since she was 8. She has a little bit of training from Johnny and Daniel, and she kind of, you know, she has a wide range of style to use with a fight. But I would argue that, you know, Tori, like we talked about, she does have a background in it. She talks about it, and not even just, you know, the fact that she's like kickboxed a few times, like in a class. Like, she talks about how she's actually been in fights, like in the real world before. So she isn't just like using this in a, you know, in a dojo, or, you know, just learning
against her dad.
Yeah, well, she is using this in the real world. So I think she has a little bit more practice than people like to, you know, give her credit for. And I think it shows, because she can keep up with Sam in a fight. She really can. Like, it's been proven. And every time they do fight, even though, you know, I think a lot of people credit Sam as a winner for them. And I would say that I don't think we've seen a finished fight truly from them, because every time that their like sequence ends, Tori's still ready. Like, she's not done. Like, at the school, you know, Sam kicks her over the railing, and then Miguel goes over the railing. So there's not really time for her to get back up. But I would like to think that she would. She was angry enough. The only reason that, like, and again at the house, like when she was, you know, beating Tori, Sam came, or when, well, I guess I would say that there was a flip when she kind of had that inner monologue in her head, and then she started gaining the upper hand on Tori when she was able to de-arm her. But again, Tori put up her fist. She was ready to go again, even if she didn't have, like, I would say she wouldn't have a huge chance against Sam with a weapon and her without, but she was, you know, willing to try. And it's that drive, because like I said, that's not what you look like when you lose a fight. When you're still ready to go, I think that's unfinished. And in the tournament, obviously that wasn't a fair fight. And I don't think, you know, I think, like I said, up until, you know, everything that happened at the, like, I'm trying to remember I know she went out of bounds and they didn't count Sam's point, but I don't know. I feel like I said, she was holding her ground very steadily against Sam up until around then.
Yeah, I mean, she was
Yeah.
up 2-1
Yep.
at one point. So you would call the tournament undetermined.
I would say I would think that it's undetermined, because I don't think just because it wasn't you know, it was in Tori's favor, I don't think that just automatically makes Sam the better fighter. I think it was just undetermined. I think, you know, if they had like a genuine, true, you know, real fight without the ref calling crazy, you know, whatever, out of all that stuff, I think you know, I think it would have been more interesting, honestly, if they had a fair fight. Because I mean, I know for plot reasons that didn't happen, but I think
plot reasons.
yeah, plot reasons.
But what about you, Sarah? Did Sam win that tournament? Should Sam have the trophy?
I honestly, I think she stood a good chance to win, even if it was rigged. Yeah, I think she could have like pulled it off.
I mean,
if
she
it
got
had
pretty
happened.
close with
Yeah,
against the
she
rigs.
did. Yeah. Do you think there'll be like a rematch, or
How could there not be, right? Like, I mean, we got
yeah,
at
Yeah,
least a
for real.
couple more seasons to go, but
yeah? I think both fighters have a good chance.
mhm.
That's why I think it's very hard to determine who's the better fighter, because we
Yeah,
don't know.
true.
It's the same kind of question for Daniel and Johnny too. I don't think they've ever had like a finished, you know, fight since, you know, 1984. And I think it's kind of, they're definitely, you know, keeping it like for us. They're definitely doing that on purpose, just so that we keep arguing about Sam and Tory.
Right. Now, Sarah also brought up that, you know, Sam is good at fighting with her words, so to speak, you know, putting Johnny in her place.
Yeah.
Can Tori match Sam?
I would think she does. I think a lot of what she does, especially like when she's introduced in season 2, she kind of just has a sharp tongue. When she's meeting Miguel, she just kind of, their little playful banter that they have going. And even with, you know, Aisha, she's just like right away, she cracks some jokes. Like, she's, you know, she's just kind of a witty person, I think. And then
But that's witty, but we're
yeah.
talking fighting here.
Yeah,
So
but
like,
I just like
more
over
words.
the seasons though, I think it's been more refined to more directly, you know, use it for fighting purposes, because I think she's definitely gotten less happy. Because like I said, I think like when she kind of got in, when she was dating Miguel, everything, it was just kind of, it was light almost, and then it got darker the more that the rivalry progressed.
I mean, so she was a master of the words with Amanda at the restaurant.
Yeah, it's definitely there. And I was also thinking like, well, even when
Got her
she's
fired.
like, yeah, of course she did. Yeah, that
Your actions have consequences.
yeah. I'm trying to think, like, not so much in season 4 though, because she's trying to get on a straighter path, and I think a lot of people are holding her back and not letting her do that, and she's trying really hard. And the only thing that I can think of in season 4 when she's fighting, you know, with her words, is when she's talking to Robbie. Yeah, and she's kind of like, you know, why are you defending Sam? If this is how you feel, that's not what you're saying. And I think she kind of gets him there, because he, you know, later uses those same words against Sam as well. And then before that though, I think, like I said, it was just more like banter. I don't think she ever had like straight up, like, you know, insulted anybody the way that Sam likes to throw them around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually, a sign of a show with good writers is when, you know it, every character is just, you know, snappy with their dialogue and got quick one-liners or something. You know,
she's definitely
wouldn't you know it? Just like it's like everyone can say the best thing at the right time.
Yeah.
Just like real life.
Oh,
Um,
man.
okay, so here's a different one. Okay, let's say like I'm new to West Valley and I'm looking for a friend. I need someone who's going to help me, show me around, who's going to have my back. Who's going to make the better friend? Who should I make friends with? Sam or Tory?
Sam.
Sam. There you go, Sarah. Why is Sam the
Sam.
one you want to be a friend with?
I just one scene comes to mind. You know the end of season 3 when like Miguel makes his recovery and she's just really nice to him. I feel like that's how she would greet a new student. So, yeah, like that, happy, kind personality until you get to know her and then you see another side of her. But yeah, I just wrote
So be
something
friends with
embarrassing.
her, but don't get to know her that well. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I
what,
think
what do you wait? Hold on. What do you even mean by that? You get to know her and you realize, she's the
I think she
daughter
could
of
be
a
so
karate
two-faced.
rivalry or something.
I'm gonna throw my girl under the bus here, but she can be very two-faced. I think again, like all characters have their flaws, and Sam's is just don't
Yeah.
get too close, I guess. But I think if you
But she
if you're
does have
on
an
the
initially nurturing side. That's what you're saying.
true. Like
She
I can agree with that.
she's still a teenager. She's still learning. Don't like yeah. But
okay.
yeah, I think she would make a good friend as long as you know where you stand with her.
Right. You
Same
did
with
bring up a
Tori.
good point, but let's throw it to Teddy. Do you agree, or would you be?
I think she put it perfectly. I think Sam is a good friend until she's not, if that makes any sense. Because, well, obviously her and Aisha were, childhood friends. They were best friends, and then she got in with a different group, and then she just wasn't a good friend, But then once that kind of wore off, she was a great friend to Aisha until she had a boyfriend again, and then she wasn't so great. And I think it's like you said, just that kind of I don't want to say two-faced because I know that's those are fighting words, but I think that's a very accurate description considering the way that she can just switch sides so quickly. And I don't know.
Okay, but why is Tori a good friend? Or
I would
you're not
think
saying anything about Tori?
she doesn't have that quality because, like I said, when she's friends with somebody, she is loyal to them. It's the same kind of. It's along the same vein as like when we were talking about them as girlfriends. It's just she has loyalty, and she always kind of man. I wouldn't say that she's like the best at being there for somebody, considering her own emotions kind of take control, but like she is very good at being there, and I think that's a really big important part of being a friend, because if my friends weren't there, then if they just walked out on me for a guy every 2 months, I would be like, well, shit, not a good friend here. But Tori's always there, and I think even at the dojo, like, I mean, she's friends with Kyler, and that's that takes a lot of patience. So
yeah,
I would
Sam can make friends, but Tori can keep them.
yes, I would say that's accurate.
And Sarah did bring something up about the hospital. Why didn't Tori visit Miguel in the hospital?
Oh, okay. So I had a lot about that. I think in season 3, Tori it's a pivotal time for her character until the end when she backslides. But at the beginning, she talks about, or she she's acting differently. She's more focused on her family until Kreese comes back in, of course. But she really does have that, like, okay, I'm done. I need to do this for my family. This is what I need. And then Kreese comes in with his, karate will save you bullshit. And she goes back. But even then, she has that sense when she's talking with Robbie, when he kind of comes, when he's out of juvie and he's like there at the dojo. She's talking to him and she's like, she flirts with self-awareness the whole season. And then, of course, like I said, it backslides, and at the end it means essentially nothing because she still goes to the LaRusso house. But I still maintain that, like, she flirts with self-awareness, and when you are self-aware of the things that you do, especially something as giant as starting a school riot and causing your, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend to almost die, that comes with a lot of guilt. And I think the most rational in a human's mind explanation or thing to do with your guilt is to ignore it or try to ignore the thing that causes it. And for her, that was Miguel. She didn't want to face it because that's a problem in itself. But I think that's why she didn't see Miguel. It's because she just didn't want to face it, and she was already feeling that level of guilt, and she wouldn't be able to take more of it.
Is that what she told Miguel?
I feel like she didn't have a chance to really go into it too deeply with Miguel because right away she kind of again went on to that angry projecting, oh well, you just wanted me for Sam. Because if she lets down her walls again, who's to say, she's not going to get hurt again, It's a very it's just a very I think it's very common feeling to just kind of push people
Now,
away.
she told Miguel, I didn't know how to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's her. She was kind of opening up a little bit. She admitted that she didn't know what to do, and Miguel kind of. I think he was justified in his "oh, so you did nothing" response, because I'm sure he was hurting too. Because he really, I believe that he really did like Tori, but yeah, just like I said, I think that whole thing just kind of stems from Tori's guilt, and not a lot of people will, in that in that world, will see that, considering they're not feeling it as heavy as she is.
And Sarah, how do you feel about that? Like, how should someone look at it that, Sam is someone who came to the hospital, tried to visit Miguel, brought him a card with an octopus, versus Tori who ghosted him.
Yeah, I agree with what Teddy said there. Definitely guilt of what happened definitely is a key part of like why she mightn't have, like, she didn't visit him. I think just Sam is just in her own mind, it's the right thing to do to visit a friend when they're down, despite the fact she didn't really visit Robbie and Juvie. But yeah, that's another story. But yeah, I think, yeah, Sam, yeah, she obviously felt bad about the fight, and she just wanted to console Miguel by just apologizing and maybe like for a chat and stuff. And yeah, I think Sam was in the right there. For even though she felt bad, she still like tried to make things up with Miguel, even though it kind of ended a little bit rough with Hawk coming in the door. But yeah, yeah, I think
There you go.
that's it.
One of the last points I was just going to bring up, like, let's say like there's a new student, someone looking to learn karate or just learn, who's the better leader?
Sam.
Sam. Okay.
Yes.
You always jump in real fast. Okay, Sam. So why is Sam the better leader?
Okay. So I remember in season 4, it's been like proven that she is like good at leading people. Several times she had to like take over the Miyagi-Dos when Daniel was away with her brother or with Robbie or whatnot. But yeah, I think she can definitely stand her own, even with or without someone. And also, what else do I have? Taking over the notes. The part, when in season 4, the birthday party scene with when Sam interrogates like Tori. Amanda said that Amanda told Sam that she used to love to babysit Sheila's daughter Cindy, so of course she has that level of responsibility for like taking care of different people and stuff. So I think she definitely has experience with that.
Okay, so she's helped train the Miyagi-Dos. She used to be a babysitter. Okay. Teddy so Sam's the better leader. You agree?
I would, of course, I would argue on Tori's behalf. Although we haven't quite seen any, I feel like all the examples that I'm thinking of would be, kind of weak. Although I'm thinking though, like in the future, we might see a more prominent leadership role from Tory in the dojo, especially since, you know, Robbie's gone and whatever else will be happening with the expansion. But my earbud fell out. I think we've seen that she has this. She talks to people in a way that, I mean, I think some people may think that it's manipulative, but I think she just has a way of speaking that a lot of people will follow. If she says something or she, you know, acts a certain way, I think a lot of people will follow her. And of course, with, you know, her track record, that could be dangerous. But
A
it's,
lot of people followed her to the house fight,
yeah,
right? Like,
exactly. It takes a certain something to convince people to do that. Like, like I
right,
feel
off
like
screen as it is.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm not like I don't think I've ever been like sitting down and being like, hey, you want to like start a home invasion? Like any rational person would be like, no. And she'd definitely have to do a little convincing. But also, not only that, I think in terms of fighting, I think she is she takes lessons very quickly, and I think that's another part of the reason why I think she is a good fighter, is because she absorbs a lot really fast, I think, for, you know, the time that she's been at it, which is, in comparison to Sam, not long. And even when well, in season 1, when Robbie pulls the if you hit me I'll leave thing, she doesn't just jump right in without thinking. She watches him and she kind of like takes in the fight. And I think that's something that someone that can, I know, like, I don't want to say teacher, but I guess kind of in a sense, somebody that can, you know, take notes and adjust their, in the show, fighting and, you know, just overall personality. I think she takes a lot of notes, which is a lot for a leader to.
She takes it in, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, well, it's definitely two sides. I mean, we'll see. So is there? You both had copious notes, so I mean, I'll throw it to you. Is there anything else in your notes, Sarah, that you want to argue that for Sam or against Tori, that you know, just that I haven't brought up or hasn't come up?
Ooh, I think I'd like to talk about the relationship between like Johnny and Sam. I think Johnny definitely brings out like another side of Sam that like I think was kind of like bubbling under the surface. Yeah. She yeah, I think I really like that dynamic in season 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam definitely connected to Johnny, as far as we can tell, more than Tori ever did. I mean,
Yeah.
Johnny and Tori only ever had like 2 lines to each other.
True.
Not
Yeah.
that Sam and Johnny have a lot, but that's another issue. But okay.
Yeah.
So you like that how she connected with Johnny?
Yeah, definitely. That was something that really, you know, made me appreciate her more as a character, I guess. What else do I have?
Because she is more rounded, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
She's more rounded. Okay.
So,
Here, we'll throw it to Teddy. Do you have anything?
I think the only thing here that I have written that I haven't quite like touched on is I think there were a lot of key moments in the rivalry where Tori was willing to let it go in a sense, and and Sam wasn't as perceptive to that. And I think
What is one where Tori at least was ready to let it go?
yeah, I mean, I would feel like, you know, at the beginning, hold on, let me find that. I think, like I said, it kind of goes into it's definitely more in season 4, I feel, because there are moments where Tori is like not like throwing hands, but she's not quite being as civil as she could be with Sam, and I think that, of course, you know, makes the rivalry continue. But in season 4 in particular, I think there's a few key moments where she's like willing to let it go with Sam, like at the at the drive-in. I think that fight, it wasn't even really a thing between them, and Sam kind of made it a thing between them because Robbie was going to defend Kenny, and of course that kind of sparked a whole thing that had absolutely nothing to do with Sam and Tory. Yet Sam made it personal by yet again insulting her about this demeaning job that she has, which I find ironic considering, yes, it's a horrible job, but Sam's never had to work a day in her life. Why would she make fun of somebody for trying to make ends meet? And that's just like, I guess it wasn't really Tory trying to settle things per se. It was just Sam not willing to let it go. It's a more accurate description.
Do you think that's true, Sarah? Is Sam just not willing to let things go? Is Tory always willing to end the rivalry, but Sam keeps it going?
Yeah, I think you do have a point, Teddy. Sam definitely like keeps it going in some aspects. Yeah, I can't really think of anything right now, but yeah.
There's also that scene where Tori is back at school, and she goes up to Sam and tries to thank her for letting her back in,
Right.
and Sam pulls the "I'm coming for you, bitch" callback line.
Yeah, that can actually be blamed on like the whole PTSD trauma thing, which is also heavily debated against. Yeah, I think just her personality throughout like season like that, after season 3, after season 4, definitely like made Sam like a bit more aggressive in her actions, for sure. I have to say that. Of course, like even after she won the fight with I guess like put a ceasefire to the fight in the final like house fight in season 3. I don't think she was fully over it, honestly, and that like definitely like dragged into season 4, and like that definitely made her like, even when Amanda was like trying to like confront Tori and like trying to stop it, like Sam was still like, I think she was just defending herself in a way, because like, what would you do if you were being constantly attacked by someone and like you didn't like, you were told by your dad and like whatnot to like kind of like avoid it and just don't confront it directly? I think it's just a lot of pent up anger on her half, and I think she did like, I don't know, yeah, I can definitely see where Sam's coming from, but at the same time, was she in the right to like do that to Tori? It's debatable, but yeah.
I think it's definitely what kept it going. I think her like I said, her feelings about Tori are valid given the history of their rivalry. But my main point was just that's definitely what's kept it going. Whereas
Do you think she mentioned the PTSD in that part of the season 3 story? Do you think Tori's even aware of any of that? And if so, how does Tori care?
I would think that she would not be aware of it because, like I said, she has so much of her own trauma to be sorting through. I don't think that she's ever, stopped to think, oh, what I've done, might have hurt this person. Like I said, she does kind of touch on that self-awareness in season 3 when she talks about what it did to Miguel, but she never thinks about what it did to Sam. And I would argue, though, that that's not particularly a bad thing for Tori, considering the fact that Sam still thinks that her home life is a sob story. She calls it bullshit multiple times. It's kind of difficult to feel like, I'm not saying that PTSD and other issues like that aren't serious. It's just from Tori's perspective, I think she would kind of see it as a, well, since when have you cared about me kind of thing. And I think, honestly, since Tori has been getting, therapy, support, all that kind of stuff, she's obviously grown as a character. And I think if Sam's been struggling with that so deeply, she should think about that too. I think people like to pick and choose with the mental health of certain characters, and I just think, blanket statement, everyone needs therapy.
Yeah.
Certainly they should.
including Sam, and thankfully Tori already got that or is currently getting it.
But were there any other points either of you had in your notes, or I do have another question, but
Um,
Mm,
is that it?
I think
think
I'm okay.
There you go. You've both argued. So there is a question that I get asked all the time from the beginning, and I've never had an answer, but I figured I'll throw it to you.
Oh,
Who's
fun.
hotter?
Oh my god.
so many people say Payson and Tori.
Although
I don't
believe me,
know.
there's many people out there arguing for Mary and Sam
Yeah.
too. So
Oh man. I feel like, again, like, attractiveness is so subjective.
Mhm.
Like, I think they're both really, really gorgeous girls. There's no way to get around that. Both of them are so pretty, and especially on the show, I like the way, like I said, the way that they're styled. I feel like really just like elevates that for them. But personally speaking, I don't know. I feel like it's always, I feel like Tori would be the more attractive character because she just has, like I said, she just has that like charm, I think you could say, that makes people want to follow her. And even if you, and I think a lot of Tori fans would agree that even, if she's doing something wrong, there's something about her that you just want to defend. And I think it's just, one of those things that it's just kind of like the essence of her. And plus, apparently, some people just really like aggressive women. So there you go.
there you go. Can you argue for Sam? Is Sam hotter?
Sam hot. Yeah. I mean, like, if she can get Kyler, sure.
If she can get Kyler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't consider
I mean,
Tyler
she
a
had
catch.
a bunch of boyfriends. I mean, like they all loved her somewhat. So I mean, she has
Yeah,
that
yeah.
to
I
back
mean,
her up. I
definitely all
guess.
the
She
guys are literally fighting over Sam, right? Isn't that
she
Yeah.
has
isn't
that
that
she has that like she has that girl next door charm. I think that's like a very heavy contrast in them, is like Tori is like the bad girl with like a dark past and like, ooh, that's so mysterious and sexy, versus Sam, who's like the perfect girl next door. So it just kind of depends on what vibe you go for.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all about the vibe. There you
Yeah.
go.
You're gonna
It,
make me start shipping Sam and Tori now.
I've seen that.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it exists. I'm sure
Definitely does.
if it's out, if the character exists, the ship exists, right? Like,
Definitely.
is there anything, guys, in the chat you want to ask or add? I know you guys have been going back and forth.
Yeah. One thing I
Let's
just like to say again is just
yeah,
it's such
so,
a gray area, and this whole show is just revolves around the gray. So there's
Yes.
not like one good side. There's not one bad side.
Yeah.
I think we need to just look at different people's perspectives on the situation.
For sure.
And
For
I
sure.
think, yeah.
I
Please
think
don't get too aggressive in the chat.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, I feel like online, particularly, if someone defends a character, I think that most people take that as that person defending everything about that character, when in
Yeah.
reality, maybe they just like them. Like, I've seen so many people like arguing with me and a lot of my mutuals on my Instagram account, and just they're all just going at it, and I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
right,
everyone's done
or
horrible
if you
things.
say something about one character, they think you're automatically defending the other, which is
Exactly,
something I
yes.
get. I get Sam videos, and then people are like, what's with you Tory lovers or something?" And I said, well,
Yeah.
wait a second, I never defended Tory.
For sure. Yeah.
Believe me, she
Yeah.
started the fight and everything.
Yeah.
Is Sam a bully towards Tory, just like her brother to Kenny? Sarah, what do you
Ooh.
think? Is Sam a bully towards Tori?
In Tori's eyes, definitely. In Sam's eyes, no.
And what about in your eyes?
In my eyes, 50-50.
50-50. She's a 50% bullied, Tori.
Yeah.
I for the first few seasons, I mean, even now, I wouldn't quite consider Sam a bully. She's not, particularly my favorite character, but I don't think there's like actually any time where she's been like just straight up bully. You could kind of argue in season 1 she is, when Yasmin and Moon are kind of making fun of Aisha and other people,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't consider her a bully then either. I think she's just a bystander, which is almost as bad depending on who you ask. But even when I wouldn't consider her a bully. And in season 4, when she's kind of I don't want to say, well, I guess verbally attacking would be more accurate, when she's kind of going at Tori a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I would consider that a flash of bullying, especially when she's trying, like I said, when it's at her job. I think that's outside of that, I think all her little comments might have been just kind of
Insensitive.
yeah, exactly. But I would never consider her like a straight up bully like Anthony, even though you could argue that he's also a bystander. But no,
well, he was participating a little bit more than Sam ever did. I think,
definitely. But
Yeah,
I just think that there are a few moments of Sam's that she does get, like you said, a little insensitive. But I don't think she's ever had like a malicious intent, which is bullying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always thought the same thing. I mean, Sam and Tori just always struck me as two girls who really don't like each other.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily the concept of a bully and bullied. That's
exactly
how I take it. But
yeah, I mean, I would even argue that Tori isn't a bully either, even though a lot of people like to label her as such. I think, like I said, I think bullying is, just so much more. Well, if you want an example, Kenny, he was bullied, versus when did Tori ever do anything like that to Sam, aside from starting the school fight, which I would argue is a much more straightforward approach than what a bully would take. I would say that she's just very confrontational.
Sam mentally, like this is just the internet puts it at the most extreme way of.
I mean, it's not too far off.
So it's kind of, let's see, what does this say? It still justifies the pig jokes at Aisha instead of acknowledging they were wrong and apologizing for bystanding. What do you think about that, Sarah? So she's talking about after the it's actually episode 4, I think she's talking about. But because the pig jokes is at the end of episode 3, and then everyone's at the oink 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 at Aisha in the school.
Yeah, they're definitely in the wrong. Like, bystanding is just, as Teddy just said, it's just another like kind of form of bullying. So yeah, they're definitely wrong for just doing that in the first place. And like Sam just not standing up for a friend is just like an example of, definitely not a great trait of Sam's, but what can you do about it, I guess?
I would say that's a negative in the friend column for Sam.
Yeah. Do you think Sam, the show always shows us, it seems like Sam had trouble getting along with Yasmin and Moon in season 1, but she's clearly friends with them and wants to continue being friends with. I mean, do you think she genuinely liked Yasmin and Moon?
Sure.
In season 1, I'm talking about season 1, Yasmin. And
Yeah,
Johnny.
I think they were kind of setting her up to be the typical, bystander teen who's just going, rolling with the punches, doing what she thinks she's supposed to be doing, even though she knows it's not particularly right. So I think like when she was begging, for them to be her friends still and forget about the rumors, I think a part of that was more of self-preservation than rather being like, these are my friends, considering, how quickly she was able to kind of get out of that popular girl mindset.
Yeah, I agree with you, Teddy.
Let's see. The whole show. Yeah, well, yeah, the whole show is around bullying. But like I feel like that's a very broad definition of bullying.
Yeah,
You can not get along with someone. This is just my own opinion.
Yeah.
Not get along with someone, it doesn't make someone a bully.
Well, I think that's definitely a term that the
Yeah.
fandom throws around very often. And I think, even though, like I said, I wouldn't really consider most of the characters that they call bullies.
Okay, here's an interesting one. I suppose it means at the end of season 4 now. Who do you think would best fit Eagle Fang and Chosen Miyagi-Do? Presumably Sam or Tory.
Oh, I really liked it when, I really loved Johnny's Cobra Kai, and I would love to see Tori go back to that since it's kind of what got her started. But I've seen a lot of people also argue that, especially now with Chosen involved, that Miyagi-Do may be a better fit for her. But personally, I would more like to, I'd like to see her more with Eagle Fang and Johnny.
What do you think? Who's the better fit where, Stara?
Chosen Miyagi-Do. I was actually just watching your video before the live stream there, watch party, and I'd love to see
Smart girl.
Sam. Yeah, just like round up bullet points and stuff. So yeah, I'd love to see Sam and Anthony like do like Miyagi-Do with Chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And but
I think we will get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. But Eagle Fang, I think, would be like a better suit for Sam right now, so she can like balance out what she's like learned and stuff through both sides. So I think either or would be good. So.
And what about Tori? Like, is she good where she is with Terry Silver, Cobra Kai, or?
Ooh, I don't know. I think time will tell with that one. Honestly, I think she has a lot of growing to do, a lot of maturing, a lot of like, we'll see, of course, next season if she's gonna like, tell everyone about what she saw in the last episode. But right now, I think she's where she needs to be at the moment, and then hopefully she'll just learn from that. So hopefully she like.
You may be right. If we'll put it, how Terry Silver reacts to her and everything that happened at the end of season 4.
Yeah.
So let's see. I think she was okay. So I think, we've come out about an hour and a half. I think this was a really fun debate. Got to bring up all the things. Anything else you two want to say or pitch yourself?
No, I think we covered it.
Well, thank you both for coming in. It was a lot of fun. It's just definitely, I think one thing, we can all sort of sense, the show, we've had almost 3 seasons of like Sam Tory rivalry. I mean, and we know, they're smart. They're not going to keep it the same thing literally every time. So I think, we sense, the show's going to change a little, so let's just on that looking forward, do you see them finally putting the rivalry aside and like, how are they going to move past it? Sort of a question you weren't prepared for. Yeah, no idea. Well, that's a fair answer.
I don't know. I feel like it's definitely possible that they can make up. I think, like many people have said, and like even we were just talking about it. I think they have so much in common. I think it's kind of impossible for people not to see that they are two sides of the same coin. I would say, in a sense, because they
Like Daniel and Johnny, or in
I
different ways?
would I would say that could be a comparison, but I feel like I feel like it's just gotten so big. Their rivalry has gotten so big that a lot of people forget that and or they don't care. But I think it's very possible that they could get along eventually considering they are so similar. And I think that's kind of what they're leading on with Johnny and Daniel, and now Miguel and Robbie possibly. And I think Tori and Sam would be next. So maybe in the distant future.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. So, maybe we'll come back. We'll see how it happens. So I thank you both. Just so you guys know, Teddy is at Karate Caulfield on Instagram, and Sarah, she's got it right there, Samantha LaRusso. There are links to both of them in the description, guys. So follow them both. They both run fun fan accounts. Teddy makes a lot of edits and stuff, and Sarah posts stuff too when she has time. So give them both a follow on Instagram. They're great. Thank you both for here. We'll take care. I got a video I dropped today on Daniel and Johnny splitting up. So, and we'll be back next week. We'll see you guys at the next watch party.